program is sponsored by New Aspect Coaching.
Welcome to Reigniting You, the show that explores a variety of topics and timely issues for making successful mid to late career transitions with a renewed sense of purpose and fulfillment for the next phase of your career and life, regardless of your age. Now, here's your host, Lisa Downs.
Welcome to Reigniting You, where we talk all things career transition for those age 40 plus. I'm Lisa Downs, Seattle-based career and retirement transition coach. So great to be here with you today, and our producer, Eric. Hey, Eric, how's it going today?
Hey, good afternoon, Lisa. I'm doing great. As you said before the show, now that the heat has subsided, it's a whole different feeling.
It is.
And,
it's a whole new world.
Yes.
So, oh, my goodness. Yeah, it's craziness going on with the weather, but glad that you're cooled down. I'm cooled down, so ready to go. We've got another great show for us today. So for the first time, we have two great guests, authors, coaches, and colleagues, Jeannette Lalonde and Mary Morency, and I'll introduce them right after this first break. Hi, I'm Lisa Downs, career and retirement transition coach and host of Reigniting You on KKNW. I guide age 40-plus professionals to gain clarity, a renewed sense of purpose, and a career transition plan within 90 days so you can lead a fulfilling life regardless of your age. No longer does change have to mean riding off into the proverbial sunset. Let's talk about what your next phase of life can look like. Visit yournewaspect.com or call me at 425-216-3015. That's 425-216-3015. New Aspect Coaching. Fresh perspectives for your career.
What's your story? Have you ever sat with that question and looked to your heart for the answer? It's time to explore the real you. Tune in Thursdays from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. for the brand new show, Story You, with Coach Debbie. Debbie and her guests have a mission to inspire and coach you to find your voice. If you need direction, Story You with Coach Debbie is for you. If you want to be an author, Story You with Coach Debbie is for you. Tune in Thursdays at 4 p.m. and be inspired.
Need help getting started with self-help? You came to the right place. Alternative Talk 1150.
Welcome back to Reigniting You, the show that focuses on all aspects of making mid to late career transitions. Just a note that in case you missed it here on KKNW, that you can catch Voices of Experience with host Paul Casey this Sunday at 9 o'clock a.m. on KIXI. Voices shines a light on people with experience in their fields of travel, public affairs, adventure, health, and fitness, with an emphasis on sustaining your own business. That's Voices of Experience this Sunday at 9 a.m. on AM 880 KIXI. I'm really happy to introduce today's guests, Jeannette Lalonde and Mary Morency. After long careers in human resources management and organizational development in Canada and abroad, Mary and Jeannette have been helping people together since 2015 to adapt to change, develop resilient skills, and plan their end-of-career transition into retirement. Mary holds a bachelor's degree in languages and education from Fontbonne University, an MBA from McGill University, and certifications in change management, solution-oriented coaching, and neuro-linguistic programming, and is an accredited coach with the International Coach Federation. Jeannette holds the Institute of Corporate Directors Certificate, the Graduate Diploma in Management from McGill University, and a bachelor's degree in psychology from Carleton University. They have both completed certificates in applied positive psychology and resilience from the Flourishing Center in New York. Their book, Rethinking Retirement, A Guide for Making Choices, will be released later this year. Hi, Jeannette and Mary. Welcome to the show. Great to have you here.
Hi,
Hello,
Lisa.
Hi. So to kick things off, I always like with guests, we always spend time here during the first segment to learn more a bit about your background and career path and journey, lessons learned, things that have been helpful for you as you've made different transitions. So, Jeannette, what's your story in terms of how you've gotten to this point here today and any lessons along the way?
Exciting to share this with you, Lisa, and everyone listening. Listen, after 40 years career, in human resource management, I realize now why I was in that, because I really had a keen interest in psychology, in understanding individuals, teams, what makes a difference in leadership. And now that I'm retired, I'm continuing my journey of curiosity to understand psychology from a positive psychology and resilience perspective. And for me, key milestones, when I was 45, I decided I had enough with corporate life and decided to be an entrepreneur and discovered that I loved it. So I created my own consulting company and had that for 10 years. And then at age 55, I had the opportunity of doing an international assignment and focusing on being a mentor and helping people put in place some HR strategies that made a difference. So that's my career, and now 7 years coaching people to retire and to enjoy life as a retiree.
That's great. And for you, what would you say stands out as some key lessons that you learned along the way in making those different changes?
Well, key lessons is continuing to be curious and wanting to know more. So I always wanted to have best practices. So I really did reach out to a network. I was very active in professional associations in Canada, internationally, and listening to clients, listening to employees, listening to managers, and really being able to adapt to change and understand multicultural differences, and necessarily being able to balance personal and professional life.
That's great. And was there anything that you would say in terms of certain decisions that you made, people who supported you, or anything that was particularly helpful as you went through your career transitions?
Mhm. Well, the key was to really know myself and realize what were my strengths of project management, planning, organizing, and listening to the feedback I was getting from people around me. So I really did sort of dare become an entrepreneur and realize that I had really developed excellent skills in influencing and selling when I was within organization. So understanding self, appreciating, leveraging on your strengths, and listening, just listening to be sensitive to the people around you.
That's great. Yeah, and I love that point about really knowing yourself. So knowing your strengths, what you're good at, what you're great at, and using that to help guide you as well. So thanks so much for that. And how about for you, Mary? What's your background?
Hi, Lisa. Um, a few years ago, somebody asked me the same question, and I started to count the number of shifts I'd done. And I think I got up to about 5 or 6. So I started out to be a teacher. Okay. This was in the 70s. And so I taught for a very short period of time, but the market was saturated, moved into sales and then into management. And then by choice, chose motherhood for a career for a short period of time, during which I combined going back to school and getting my MBA. After that, I was ready to roll in terms of working in human resources. So did corporate HR for several years here in Montreal, and then had an opportunity to shift into a specialization that you've mentioned, organizational development and leadership development. And then the big shift was into the Middle East, where I worked in international HR and looked at sharing what I knew with people who didn't have the same background as I did. So that lasted for about 7 years. Came back to Canada, and that was the big pivot to stop the corporate life and to move on to something different, which was coaching. So I got my accreditation in coaching, and then Jeannette and I started up with our retirement coaching business.
Excellent. Well, you and I have the teaching thing in common. So
Yeah.
I was a teacher for about 5 years before I got into adult learning and leadership development myself. So that's
Mm.
very fun. And thanks so much for sharing that. And what would you say, Mary, are some key lessons that you've learned through all of that?
Um, One of the big lessons in terms of those career transitions is don't be afraid to reach out. you just never know who's going to help you along your way. I mean, my pivot from teaching to sales, I picked up the phone and called the president of a company. And the only reason I knew him is I babysat for his children. So, but, don't be afraid to pick, to reach out to people and to use that network, because you just may be the right person at the right time through that networking. I guess the other thing I would say is capitalize on your ability to learn, because if you're confident about the fact that you can learn and you can learn, you can present yourself any way you want to present yourself, and move forward in your career, even if it's a shift.
That's great. And yeah, it's so true. It's like you never know who somebody knows, what their connections are, and I agree wholeheartedly. Shouldn't worry about reaching out to people, and I find, I'm sure you found too, that I think 99% of people are very willing to help with that too, and introduce you to folks
Absolutely.
and to support you. And in addition to the networking and the learning piece, is there anything else for you that was particularly helpful during your times of career transition?
Well, I think that having trusted advisors, there's one, there's the networking piece, but there's also people that you can trust to bounce off ideas and who can give you certain guidance along the way. That is key. And when that self-doubt starts to raise its ugly head, having somebody, I can always remember my mother saying, "Mary, when did you not succeed at something you tried?" All right, yes, I'll be okay. So having those trusted advisors, is key as well.
Right. Yeah. So critical. And I think to have that confidence in yourself. And as you said, remember those times when you have been successful and really use that as leverage to get to that next
Absolutely.
step and to support you.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Jeanette and Mary, for sharing about your career journey, your paths, your lessons, and what's been helpful to you. Really appreciate it. It's already time for our next break. So when we come back, we'll talk about Jeanette and Mary's new book and their recommendations for resilience.
Are you feeling challenged or frustrated without a plan for what's next in your career and life? Are you seeing writings on the wall for needing to make a mid to late career change and don't know how or what to do? Coach Lisa Downs of New Aspect Coaching can guide you to what's next, providing a fresh perspective and supporting you to create a clear and compelling vision for your future and a plan to move forward. Call Lisa at 425-216-3015. That's 425-216-3015. New Aspect Coaching, fresh perspectives for your career.
This is Rob Bass, and I want you to tune in to Don't Ask Me to Talk with Stacey Heller, the show that brings joy from pain, sunshine where it rains. Don't Ask Me to Talk with Stacey Heller. And that's coming from me, Mr. It Takes Two, Rob Bass. Tune in.
Do what Rob Bass says. Take a listen to Don't Ask Me to Talk with Stacey Heller. That's me, Tuesdays from 3 to 4 on KKNW. To find out more information, check out my website, staceyconnects.com, or text DAMTT to 55678.
Hello, I'm Nathan Mum. Join me and Mike Raday as we host a weekly technology show that talks about technology for the everyday common person. We are a live radio program that airs Saturday from 4 to 5 p.m. on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. If you go to facebook.com/TechTime Radio, youtube.com/TechTime Radio, or twitch.tv/TechTime Radio, you can catch us live Saturdays from 4 to 5 p.m. You can find us at all podcast services online from Apple to Google and everything in between.
Have a career transition related question or want to share your best or worst job story? Call 360-436-6496. That's 360-436-6496. Just leave a voicemail and we'll answer your question or share your story on a future show. Stay tuned for more Reigniting You with Lisa Downs.
Welcome back to Reigniting You, the show that discusses timely issues and topics for Gen Xers and Boomers, all about career transition. I'm your host, Lisa Downs. A reminder that if you'd like to get in touch, you can head on over to my website, yournewaspect.com. There you'll find a way to sign up for my free weekly career tips newsletter, as well as take my free career transition readiness quiz. And if you go to services and group programs, you can sign up for some free webinars I'm offering this summer, all about Encore careers, as well as download a free e-guide also about Encore careers. We're here with authors, coaches, and colleagues, Jeannette Lalonde and Mary Morency. Jeannette and Mary, let's go ahead and jump back into our conversation. So, Mary, for those looking to make a career transition and change directions, why is it important to stay resilient and keep a positive mindset?
Okay, Lisa, good question. First of all, we always like to remind people what resilience is. And the long and short of it is it's the ability to bounce back from setbacks and from adversities. So, any transition, including career transitions, involves some kind of upheaval. We're rethinking things, we're questioning ourselves, we're doubting ourselves, we're taking a few steps forward and then slipping back. We're having ups and downs along the way. So all of those things bring up a lot of fears, a lot of self-doubt and uncertainty. And so this ability to be able to be resilient and bounce back is critical, especially during that messy period. And if we take a career transition, there's a period where we really are going inward and we're trying to figure out what do we want? How are we going to do it? What steps are we going to take forward? So resilience really does help around that. And the prerequisite for developing resilience is mindset. Okay, how we think about things, how we see the world in front of us, and specifically what we call a growth mindset, which is believing in our ability to grow, believe in our ability to learn, and to keep moving forward. So what we know about people with a growth mindset is they tend to achieve more. They persist, they embrace challenges, they view effort as just, well, that's going to get me where I want to go kind of thing. And they learn from others and from themselves, including their own mistakes. So resilience and mindset are critical in career transition as far as we're concerned.
Excellent. And how would you say that the concept of resilience also applies to those who may be looking to transition into their retirement phase?
Yeah. Well, sometimes people think, oh my gosh, I've lived through so many organizational changes in my life. I'm done with the
Yep.
change treadmill, and we like to say, hang on here, there's a few other changes that are awaiting you. And there are plenty of changes that happen during the transition period from our working lives to retirement, but also through that 20 to 30 years that we potentially can live in retirement.
Oh,
So
right.
some of the things for the transition, the most important one is change in identity. Okay,
Mhm.
we're going from uh, thinking about ourselves in terms of what we do for a living to who we are. And that's a big change for a lot of people, especially those who haven't taken the time to do introspection because they've just been too busy working. So that's one of the big changes. Another one is change in routine. Whether we like it or not, work gives us a lot of structure, sometimes too much, but this is a big change for a lot of people when they look and see that they've got an empty slate and over 100 hours a week to figure out what the heck they're going to do. So there's routine, and then of course the other important transitional piece is socialization.
Mhm.
So many people's social network revolves around their job because they spend so many minutes and so many hours and so many days at their jobs. So finding a new social network is also a big transition for people. And then, of course, when I refer to the 20 to 30 years, well, there's changes around where are we going to live? changes to our health, changes because we lose people. For longevity also brings the sad consequences of losing loved ones. And all of those changes require much more resilience to be able to bounce back and to remain positive throughout our retirement years.
Yeah, gotcha. It is an awful lot to think about, and especially that identity piece as well as the socialization. And we see a lot about that too, about the importance of having that social framework to avoid going into a downward spiral and dealing with social isolation. So thanks so much for raising that. And Jeannette, so the title of your new book that's coming out here later this year is Rethinking Retirement, a guide for making choices. And how did you decide to go with that title? So what inspired that for you?
Mary and I, we've been at this for 7 years. We are retirees, and we always get the feedback, well, you're not retired because you're doing all of this work. And we kind of say, no, we are the new retirees who want to continue to contribute professionally to the society, etc. And then we've been coaching over 250 people,
Wow.
preparing or who are retired. And they're all kind of saying, oh my God, there's so much to think about, which I had not thought about because I've been only planning the financial side and the whole lifestyle. And as Mary says, we've got 20 to 30 years ahead of us. So we need to sort of look at a plan, and it's a plan, maybe every 5 years, you've got to reassess and rethink. So needless to say, when we embarked in this project this year, because we wanted to share our knowledge, share our wisdom, share our experience personally and our coaching experience with, a broader reach. So Mary and I, we decided we're going to put this together in a book, but a guide to help people to rethink what retirement is all about. We all would love to remove that word retirement because it brings kind of a feeling that, oh, that's the period when you're sitting down on your front porch in your rocking chair and, just kind of counting the years before you die. Well, the reality is the baby boomers, we're seeking peak experiences. We're seeking experiences with adventure. We're seeking to contribute. So the rethinking, we've created our own kind of model because we're getting a lot of feedback that we help people because we bring them structure. So the structure we're bringing is we're looking at rethinking from working to contribution. This is a period in life where we're wanting to contribute in different ways. It may be contribute to your family, contribute to your loved ones around you. It may be contributing to your community, to society. It may be big C's, we're calling them, big contribution things. Probably what Mary and I are doing, we consider that big C's, or it may be small C's, which may be leveraging on having some, fabulous moments with your grandchildren. So rethinking about contributing versus working.
That's great.
Rethinking about your well-being, because most people have been focusing so much on their career, and when they retire they kind of say, oh my God, I have to sort of look at my body. I need to do something. I need to relook at how I eat. I need to increase my movement. I need to improve my sleep. I need to rethink also the way my mind goes. Am I more driven by fear and negativity, or how can I shift to more positive thinking?
Yeah,
So
that's great. Those are
rethinking,
great points. Yeah, thank you so
yeah,
much. And in about a minute,
yeah,
I'm also curious about you've got a chapter in the book called A Gift of Positivity. And I'm also
yes.
curious about what you mean by that.
Okay. Well, this is our way of giving a gift to the readers and the retirees and future retirees, because we really living retirement, we see the benefit of positive psychology. So we're giving a gift of making simple things like savoring the moment, enjoying that little special moment with your loved ones. Gratitude, offer gratitude or express gratitude for what you have and not, complain about what you don't have. Smiling is so simple, and it has so much of an impact in the way that you're going to see the world. Hope. For sure with COVID, we've seen how we've needed to help people to sort of continue to have hope and know how to deal with fear. So that last chapter for us is a gift and simple positive psychology practices that will help people stay the course on their plan, because there's no plan that's the same, one size fits all. Everybody has a different plan and needs these positive psychology practices to make it happen.
That's excellent. Thank you so much. And so, Jeannette, how can people find you if they'd like to get in touch?
Well, Google our names, Jeannette Lalonde, Mary Morency, and you'll find we have our LinkedIn, we have Facebook, we have a website, which is coachingretraite.ca. Retraite means retirement in English, but we offer our services in both English and French. So actually our book will also be in both English and French. So the website is coachingretraite.ca. And look out for Rethinking Retirement, a guide for making choices, which will be published very soon.
Excellent.
You can find us on Amazon.
On Amazon. Great. Excellent.
Yes.
Well, thank you two for being here and sharing your insights and words of wisdom and your experiences. Just greatly appreciate it. So thank you so much.
And thanks for
Thank
having us,
you.
Lisa.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's time to wrap up today's show. And that means it's time for my reignition recommendation, your weekly career transition tip. And that's to create 3 examples of the value you bring to people and organizations. So, what are 3 ways that you explicitly and specifically provide value to the people around you, who you work with? So you can have those examples and articulate them if you are looking to venture into job search again or change industries or careers, or even if you're seeking a volunteer role. So, what are your 3 ways that you bring value? Well, thanks, Eric, for your support today, as always. So, what stood out to you from our time with Jeannette and Mary today?
Well, it sounds like I need to check out this book, Rethinking Retirement.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's also interesting to see that people in Canada share the same challenges thinking about retirement that those of us here in the States do.
Yeah.
So, I always find that interesting, the differences between countries,
Yeah, absolutely. And so great of them to join us today, being wonderful neighbors to our north. So really appreciate that as well. Well, join us next Wednesday at 3 o'clock when style consultant Erin Keem will be here to help me answer our career transition question of the month for July. Amazingly, it's almost July already. Holy cats, where is the time gone?
Everybody have a happy 4th.
Have a happy 4th, everyone. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you next week on Reigniting You.
Ooh, and happy Canada Day, too.
And happy
That's coming
Canada
up.
Day.
Yes, tomorrow.
All right, see you next week.